being a beta tester, you get very good at breaking software, and when I was making the Use Sky tutorial, the appendix for it, I was looking in the Skylab, image-based lighting, Use Sky, made a sky, just at the default resolution, this feature here, the Specular map, and because I'm setting things up and trying different things, and I wanted to go through the steps, I was just doing the process and then stopping it. And after I'd done that, and then went back into the Skylab, I noticed that it had produced a scrambled result. I thought, hang on a minute, what's that? Is it a HDRI? What can you do with it? Will it light the scene? Well, yes, but might end up crashing Bryce. So I tried different sets of the exponent, and I tried different. So my headphones creaking again. I really need to find some way to stop plastic from creaking. You hear that? It's driving me crackers. Right, stopping it now. There you go. Really creaky. Right. So I was looking at this, tried different levels of the exponent, and then I started messing around with the resolution. So I tried higher resolutions, and then I started trying lower resolutions, and I tried 100 here. So I've just generated the sky and then hit the exponent. Hitting escape works just as well, and this is scrambled area, and then I can see, well, that's the top of the sky and that's the ground, and there's this other bit here which seems to update itself as you rotate it around, which I thought, well, that's a bit strange. They must be picking some data from somewhere that's to do with the position of this rollerball. And well, why does it look like this when it didn't look like this before? So I tried a few different numbers. So I tried 300, for example, because it seemed to be the scale of the thing that was affecting it. And then I just press escape, and I go, right. Well, that looks kind of circular, and I know there should be a circular in here because the angular map appears circular in this thumbnail. And well, if you've ever done any programming, particularly at low-level languages, you'll be aware there's certain numbers, and I thought, well, let's try an obvious number. Let's try 255. I didn't choose 256 because 0 would be the 256 one I'm thinking in terms of binary. So I did that and then pressed escape. I thought, that's getting close to something there. Yeah, and realised the next obvious choice would be 256, and do the exponent, press escape, and then thought, hang on a minute, now that looks symmetrical, so it obviously is related in some way to these binary numbers. So half of this is 128, which is the next thing to try. Oh, not that one, this one, and do that and escape, and it looks the same. So somehow, when it does its specular convolved mapping, it's only working on a very low resolution light probe. So it makes you wonder, why does it take so long to do it? Well, I couldn't find out the answer to that, but what it did occur to me was this could be utilised to create some curious effects, because it's getting split up and moved around. So we'll pick the low number now, so we'll go for 100 again, and I think that we'll just do this, and then we'll see what it looks like, all scrambled like that. You could use this background. You see, it looks quite strange. Add it to the sky, come out of that, turn the atmosphere off like we did before, set to light. Obviously there's a lot of light arriving from this HDR, so I'll now reduce the quality, set this down at I don't know, 10. We'll see rendering scene, still a lot of light we've got here, not applied to light source. Let's try 1. Okay, let's try 0.1. So we're getting some light out of this, and it's appearing on the backdrop as a reflection, and we can move this around. I think that these points here must be very bright, because now I've moved it to level, it's not got much light at all, so I'll turn that back up to 50. So this random bit here must constitute a very intense light source. Look, I'm turning the light levels up now, and there's barely any light arriving, whereas if I tilt it off to one side, I start to get tremendous amounts of light coming from this random stuff. So that's a strange effect, I thought. I didn't know whether it could be used for anything. Probably should try and cut this randomy bit off somehow. It looks almost like text there as well. I wonder if it's picking up something from here like this. I don't know quite how it's working. So let's try a number. Let's see, 128's the full cycle, so we can cut off any of this white stuff by going over that. So let's try 140 and then do this and then escape from that. Oh, I've turned the sky off, didn't I? In fact, let's make a more interesting sky. So I'll set the, I won't have haze, I'll go to custom sky, make the sky green and this fog colour red, and then we'll go in here in the atmosphere. I'll set this up so we've got some fog. We don't need haze, and I'll use sky. We'll leave it at that. Right, I want that red fog, so maybe I'll have to turn this up so it appears in on the ground. That's not happened yet then. Maybe more base height. It's appearing now. I don't want it to cover the sky though. Oh, one thing or the other. Talk about extremes. Let's try something like this. At least it's quick to regenerate. Okay, right. Now I just need to cut the clouds out and turn the sun off. So turn the sun off, cut the clouds out, use the sky. I got a red and green sky then. And then I'll use this, and then I press escape, and that'll scramble it a bit. So it's now got these stripes on. Now I'll cut the light down to a more reasonable level. So how's this going to look? Let's try 20. I need to get rid of the fog and put the atmosphere in as add to the sky and cut the atmosphere out, I mean to say. So that's done that. And then obviously the light levels need tweaking up, and I can shift it round and it won't have the scrambled stuff in, so I can introduce red and green together and it'll have these weird stripes in the sky as well. So let's give that a whirl. So in theory then, it is possible to create sort of a random looking HDRI backdrop from the sky, then using this but just escaping from it. But be aware it's likely to result in some bugs. I'll turn the shadow quality up here, so that'll improve the shadows underneath. Let's pull the camera back, lower it down so we can get a shot of the sky in. See how that's looking. Strange, quite strange, but I don't know, I thought it was sort of vaguely interesting to be able to do something else unexpected. Let's rotate this round so we've got more red, the red across there. So how useful? I don't know. Is it a safe thing to do with Bryce? Probably not. It'll probably result in a crash at some point. So I don't really recommend it. I just was experimenting, that's all. I suppose I could change this setup. I just switch the sun on to get a bit of direct lighting in, like so, which could be interesting. To change this round to an obscure lighting one. I always like to show this, so change this to another family group to show obscure light. Make sure the name says background, must be spelt correctly, must be capitalized. Enlarge this and light source so it encompasses the scene. Edit it, true ambience optimization, use gel, include only, background, procedural, reset to default. And then in the sky and fog you need to have apply to light source set, true ambience optimization unset, light from the inside, turn cast shadows off, include only the background, which is now the light source. And then in the render options you need to select premium effects, lower the rays per pixel to preview, true ambience optimization, TA scattering correction checked, boost light checked, maximum rays per pixel 4. And now in theory we've got the lighting coming in. We've also got the light outside this area from the HDRI backdrop will be providing light as well. And at this point, because we've included premium effects, we can then target the objects in the scene, select render options, select depth of field, and include some depth of field effect. How much will depend on what we're previewing the scene and the size of the objects and the position of the camera. So you can really, that's quite extreme, isn't it? That's a little bit too. If I pull back further, mind you, I wanted a wider field view to see the background, so I'll have to reduce the depth of field effect. So I'll change the lens radius to 0.4, set to current selection again. Did I manage to hit that button? No. Check out of there. See how we're looking with that now. I probably didn't manage to reset. Oh, I did. I'll have to go to 0.2 then. Let's see how that looks. Okay, Camtasia does tend to meddle with the menu, so we've got this high noise outside, and this is arriving from the lighting from the outside, so we can include a firewall. I can just copy and paste this light source, make sure when it's copied and pasted it's got a different name. I'll change the family group, enlarge that, and then edit it procedural, so it's not got any diffuse response at all, and that will allow you to cut the light out of the background. And I can see that the ground's grey because I've got the direct light from the sun. So at this point I can lose the direct light from the sun, since I can't use the influence control, and then set the obscure lighting up by increasing the HDRI effect with that control, so that lights that in its own little pool of light that's dictated by the presence of the invisible sphere of the light source and what's coming from the background lighting into it. So there you go. I'll render that at higher resolution, and that'll show you that experiment with USky.